Yes, I played The End Is Nigh. Somewhat. I didn't play the whole game. Just part of it. My original thought. Well, let's do the camera here. Camera. My original thought had been that today I would do a little more error message fiddling to make error messages look nicer. But some bugs have been filed. I got 4 bugs to deal with, and one of them at least seems pretty serious. It's serious enough that we couldn't make a good repro case for it. It's that for some reason a procedure isn't getting outputted to the back end at all. We get a link error. So Ignacio says he checked this in. Material panel, line 154. What is going on? What? What? Dude, you gotta check it in. Wait, what? If 0, okay. Maybe he just gave me the wrong line number. Okay, this is the only if'd out thing. That didn't work. Well, I have to send him this email and hopefully he'll reply, and then we'll do the other bugs. Oh wait, material panel. I'm in material. 154. There we go. Link error. Undefined symbol spin box list overload. UI dot spin box enum. What is UI? Spin box enum. Okay, well, it's polymorphic. We get the enum values. Interesting. So we look it up. We get the next enum in the list. Dude, that's messed up. This is... I don't know why he did this. Like, why not just get the values once? This is bananas right here. Anyway, let me just try writing what I think this actually says. I mean, like if I do this, okay. Well, I guess I never saw this problem happen for the other thing. I just don't see the problem. Well, maybe I just send him... Wait, did I didn't turn this on. Okay. Okay, error, undefined symbol, spinbox, list, overload, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, let me see what happens if I put my version in. I don't think it'll matter, because I don't see anything in there that would affect anything, but I just want to know. Oh, value E. Type mismatch. We wanted material type given int and binary operator equals. So that goes in the wrong place. If I were working on that right now, like that error message said the wrong thing. Yeah, so that doesn't matter. So that's fine. We'll go back to... This is a relatively serious problem. Let's start debugging it. Why didn't that? Oh, we're in release builds. Now set a... Okay, so the problem is I can't set a breakpoint anywhere yet. So I'm going to run the debug build compiler with no jobs a couple times. It'll be slow because it's the debug build compiler. But I want to see if this name is the same every time. If it is, then I can break when that name is generated. Object-oriented design patterns. That sounds great. Do I know any usable free compilers that could build the interactive flame graphs that could be used for non-commercial projects? Not really. I tend to be pretty disappointed with commercial profiling tools. The only one you might be able to use is like the... I think Intel Graphics Performance Toolkit, or whatever they call it these days. Like Intel used to have a program called VTune And now I don't know. I never, because they keep renaming their stuff, so I never know. I don't know if this is the right thing, but anyway, so some of this is graphic stuff, but some of it is CPU. Oh, it's being updated in 2018, so maybe this is the right thing. Anyway, you could take a look at that. If it's not useful for you, then that's what it is. Do I think it's worth using newer OpenGL versions? Probably, yes. Is VTune still useful or not? Did I end up resolving the color craziness? No, I haven't touched it since yesterday. So it still looks like this, which is ugly, but anyway. Okay, so we're getting the same thing every time, which is good. So now this thing of like, I generate this name. Here. So what I can break now is here. There. I'm trying to turn off the breakpoint. It's so annoying. Sometimes it beeps at you 3 times, sometimes 2 times. God. Do I prefer OpenGL or DirectX? DirectX is much better. That didn't work. Well, fiddlesticks. How about if I break there for a given line number? Oh, wait. Did I delete my one? It's the wrong breakpoint. All right. No surprise we didn't break if I removed the breakpoint. Wait, this is not right. Did it automatically, what? Did it automatically parse that as hex? Because I didn't type the OX. That would be weird. Nope. It just did something. Dude, I don't even know what it did. Visual Studio. Visual Studio. I'm not using a Leopold FC200RT. The robot is wrong. The robot is wrong. Why is DirectX better? Because it's not a giant heap of garbage. Okay. So this is good. You're a beginner and you're having little problem understanding OpenGL. Well, good for you. Just keep on doing that. I'm sure you know better than me what is a good graphics API. All right. Oh, okay. Well, I'll just say, well, I don't know. When it comes down to it, uh, I'm not sure that I think any graphics APIs today are actually good. It's more of a question of like how crazy they are to make you, you know, get anything basic done. The ones that are reasonable tend to be for consoles. So like the PS4's API, which you probably can't read about without an NDA with Sony, is probably one of the best simply because there's no mystery about what's happening. Like, you know, when you program a certain thing, you know what's going to happen, which isn't really true for any of these other APIs. On top of being proprietary, it made your skin crawl. Those aren't engineering reasons to like or dislike a thing. I mean, I guess those are aesthetic reasons, but have you used anything besides DirectX? I mean, if you want non-proprietary graphics APIs, go check out all the awesome rendering people do on Linux all the time. You mentioned in stream the other day that doing, yeah, we have better. Oh, why is someone trolling me as Constance Block? What is going on here? Yes, we have better variable arguments. There have been a couple of demos about that. I think the most recent demo showed off some improvements to that, but yes. The OpenGL that's in the OpenGL Super Bible is not really current OpenGL is the problem. Unless they've updated the Super Bible recently. The Linux comment was, it was certainly sarcasm, yes. Okay, so here we are. We at least know what this procedure is. So the question then is, why doesn't it get to the output? So here's what I'm going to do. I want to know what the state of each of these things is at the end. Like, I feel like maybe the body is getting unqueued for some reason, or it's never getting generated or something. So lambda, I mean, we all know it's complicated. How do I? So this lambda has a body. And it's in the infer pipe where you would expect it to be, possibly. I mean, where's this one? Oh, this one's done already. Well, let's say, okay, lambda body is what? This might just be a general pipe problem. Okay, so now we're going to go, we're just going to keep this pointer around. And I want to know what the state of this is when we start building the executable, because it really should be done by then. So where do we do that? Thought we did it here, but yeah. Okay. So by the time we get down to here, like by the time we get here, it should be through the pipe. If it isn't, and we don't report an error, that's a problem. So it is stuck in the infer pipe. It's not sleeping on anything. Or, okay, it thinks it's in the infer pipe. What does the infer pipe think? The infer pipe doesn't have this thing. So it's getting dropped on the floor somewhere. It's not getting dequeued because that would set its pipe to none. Let me check that. So the flags is 400. No, that's in interp. Oh, it has been unqueued. I thought that would set the pipe to none, but I guess it doesn't. Well, what about the header? Flag 0. So the body got unqueued, but the header didn't. That seems bad. So that might be the only problem. It may not be that anyone is calling it. It may just be that we're trying to output it because we think we need it, when really we don't, or maybe we need it and we're mistakenly unqueuing it. So, okay. So now we find where it gets unqueued. Has been unqueued. Where do we set that? Where do we set that? Okay. Visual Studio, you're terrible. Do I think that regularly reading academic papers on CS is a good idea? I don't know. I don't do that. You know, I think as with many sectors of academia, the vast majority of the volume of CS papers is just filler crap that it's not worth anyone's time to read. They're just produced by graduate students, well, and professors, in order to fulfill the requirements of being in academia, to pretend like they're doing new things. Now, there definitely are some papers that are really worth reading, but the question is, like, how do you find those so that you don't waste your time on the 95% of stuff that's not worth reading? And I don't have a good answer for you about that. It's, I wish we wouldn't do that, generate all the garbage, but that's how it works. So, I don't know. I have written papers like that, or at least participated in the writing of them. So I know what I'm talking about there. Okay. Wait, we somehow... That's not cool. We somehow got to the end. Maybe it's here. The other one is the normal place where people get unqueued from, but it certainly could be this one. Yes. Yeah, there's a thing where computer science papers are trivial things, but there's also, especially any paper that has to do with performance of anything, it's just false. Like, people just do something crappy that doesn't really work, and then they write a bunch of pages about how it's faster and better than everything else. It's like, come on, man. Who do you think you're kidding? Okay. So this is a thing where we go and try to polymorph a bunch of stuff. And then we undo anything that was generated. The question is, how does the body end up in here when the header wasn't? Start is OX59, OX5B. Like, the header should be the one right before this. Right, I assume this is a lambda body. It is. The header this is way through the pipeline. But how? Okay, something's wrong. Well, let's make sure it's way through the pipeline before I assume. Yeah, it's several pipes later. But the header and the body are created and queued at the same time. This is what's confusing me. 5CDE versus 5CDF. So they're consecutive. So my rollback here, this rollback must be wrong somehow. Like, we're rolling back too much. Like the job of this is to just say, look, we just did an attempted polymorph. We probably queued a bunch of stuff. It didn't work out. Let's take it all out. Let's undo everything we did. We shouldn't be able to undo this, though, because it's attached to something that clearly didn't just happen, right? Latin. Let's just see where this is. Line 47 of catalog. So we're doing find in a catalog and it wasn't ready, is basically what happened. Okay. So I'm going to write some things down on a piece of paper. We have start. Now going back into here. Let's look in the state. Saved input count 89. Are we just starting one too early? Let me just look at this. No, right? So if there's one item, we will start at index 1, which is the one after it. So we want to know how this guy gets in number 91. That's doable. So where's the rollback? No. Yeah. So here, site, this is what is doing the polymorph. Okay. How's development on games coming along? Good. We're getting stuff done. Okay, so this rollback state should say 89, right? Rollback state 89, great. So Whoa, that make lambda fills the 91 automatically. Right? Pipe infer, not input. Infer. Don't you know anything about your own compiler? 91. Okay. Well. Okay. Something is happening. I think maybe things are getting reordered somehow. This guy is, this one EC1 is not the 05 CDF that we're looking for. In fact, okay, hold on. These numbers are totally wrong. We are, I assume we're actually in the meta program and we're looking at the wrong thing right now. Let me see. No, we're not in the meta program. Okay, this is really weird. So maybe something is scrambling the input. Well, let's put a data breakpoint here and see if that goes off before our other thing. This is a really weird bug. 995BF90. Why is it so hard to do this? I don't know. All right. Okay. Throwback. Clear sleepers. Oh God, okay, yeah. Okay, so this rollback thing is predicated on the idea that nothing complicated happens. So anything that we need to unqueue because it didn't work out, we can just sort of pop this list of things. But now complicated stuff is happening and we're like reordering the array. Although, like, what the hell is going on here? This is during a block copy, which shouldn't wake anybody up. Really? Value. Great. So someone is waiting on a value, on a thing called value in the global scope. Let's see who that is. maybe one of the guys who line 608 of UI. Spinbox list is waiting on a thing called value. Okay, well, that's just a bug. Anyway, I will email Ignacio about this. There is definitely a compiler bug working on it. However, part of the reason we are experiencing a problem is that Spinbox list is trying to use a variable value that it doesn't have. So it is waiting for something called value to appear in an outer scope. Then something bad is happening while it's waiting, causing the compiler bug. Boy, aren't compilers fun? You notice that the pipeline of the compiler is pretty complex, and you tend to fill in or refine information on the existing set of syntax tree nodes rather than creating new entities. Was this a conscious design choice or an organic happenstance? If you create new entities, where do they go? What problem would that solve? That operator is a pointer dereference operator. It's not the best syntax for it, and there's actually like workflow reasons why it's not a good operator. So we're going to change it at some point. Like I used to have, I don't know. We'll figure something out. It's kind of ugly too to do that. So yeah, like when you have an if statement without parentheses, the reason this is bad is it's also a common binary operator. So if you try to say if A is less than B, or I don't know, if A, whatever A equals 7, right? This will very easily get parsed as a binary operator, right? Whereas if this was an operator that had no binary equivalent, then this case wouldn't happen. And you might think like, oh, that's just a special corner case of the grammar. You shouldn't design around that. You should make it, should be like C++ or something and put mandatory parentheses or whatever. But in reality, if this is the main issue, then just avoid that issue. That's what I say. So we'll see. What's the reason for not using ampersand and star? Because Because it doesn't make any sense, is why. I don't care that much about syntax. Not going to get into big syntax discussions. Does telemetry know when a thread's stalled due to OS scheduling? I don't actually know. It's a good question. You could ask them. Okay. So now the question is, do I change the way rollback works? The answer is probably yes. Or do I try and make it so that complicated things don't happen to scramble the rollback situation? Okay. I still don't understand how the numbers are so weird. So I could change the rollback because we have these consecutive numbers in the queued structure. Instead of storing the index in the array, I could store, what the baseline number is. I don't understand still. I need to debug this more before I take action, because I don't understand how we are getting stuff from earlier. Like, I see how if I pull something out of that array, we might take something later and pop it in, which could result in things not getting unqueued when they should be. So what exactly is happening here? We're calling throwback. All right, throwback puts something. Okay, yeah, okay, I get it. I get it. Okay, this is a complete disaster. This might have a performance impact, because we have to check the entire queue. And because unqueuing things, well, I hope this doesn't have a serious performance impact, but it might. Of course, the other thing I can do is not wake this guy up, because this guy shouldn't wake up. Because this frickin' thing that we're doing, we're adding a declaration. Into an imperative block. That shouldn't wake up anybody. I don't think. I shouldn't wake up anybody. Oh wait, it says here, we sleep on identifiers even in imperative blocks due to using. Damn, son. But we're just copying. Okay, I'm going to say here, so the reason I want to fix this is this has a performance impact. So what's happening is there's somebody waiting for a global variable called value. Never mind that that's never going to appear. There's someone waiting for it. And we're polymorphing a function that happens to have something called value in it. That sort of thing is going to happen all the time. If we wake up everybody just because we use something named the same as what they're waiting for, that's not good. Now, the thing is, when we copy something like this, we know we can't be waking anybody up. So, and if we wake everybody up and they shouldn't have been woke up, that has performance impact. So I'm going to do a thing here, making things more complicated. I'm going to say if we are copying a big unit, a big self-contained unit, we can't be waking anyone, so don't. Okay, so I'm going to make a thing called wait disable. Ooh, wait disable equals false, and then has been added to scope. This is an interp. What a mess. So this is fine for now. So the type checker is not multi-threaded. But will be eventually, maybe. But you know what? We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay, so wait disable. Oh. Well, okay, we can do it. Here, we can just propagate wait disable. Actually, we know if we're in the copier and copying a block, that's not going to wake anybody up. And so we can just, Like adding another parameter to add to scope doesn't seem good, but I'm going to do it for now. Yeah. All right. We're not doing it this way. We're doing it this way. Here, line 135 of copier. True. Add statement is 259 if asked. Wait, what just happened? Okay, whatever. Not 259. Okay, so when we're adding a statement, it's not wait disable, it's wake disable. That's how tired I am. Wake disable. I don't feel good about adding this, but it is. It probably does improve performance, probably. We'll see. Oh, it's in scope. Probably need it here too. Really? Where did I put it then? It's an asked. What's it doing it asked? If I put that in scope, whatever. Okay. So has been added to scope. God, I'm propagating this down so far. So we need it there. Do I have no, checked add, nope. Okay, well that's just a little mixed up, but whatever. Bool wake disable. Okay, well, who knows how bad I screwed that up. So that doesn't necessarily fix our bug for sure, although I think it probably does. But I'm still going to put a caveat. I mean, I probably broke something, so it's too early to say this, but I probably would put a caveat on the rollback saying, this doesn't do what you think it does. We may want to re-architect it. Debug compiler. Oh, it still broke. Interesting. Well, you know, maybe my true didn't propagate down so far. Do you really want to have to type mutt everywhere in your programming language? All right. So what are we doing? We got our rollback state. We made our lambda, and then we set a data breakpoint. And then we hit it. So we're doing the same thing. Wake disable is true. Oh. You know, if I pass this value all the way down, I should use it. Pro tip. If you make a variable to control a certain behavior of your program, then it is a good idea to use that variable to actually control the behavior of your program. Just, you know, beginners don't always get these things. So for those of you in the audience who are beginners, I'm just laying it out there. Someone says, pro tip, a compiler needs a test suite, not smoke tests. Okay, Mind King, if you're going to be that way, explain to me what you mean by that. Justify your position. See what's happening. What physical size is my monitor? I don't know. I assume it's 27 inches. Well, I can't find my tape measure right now, but, you know, certainly longer than my forearm. Mind King, do you even know what tests that we run? Or are you just saying crap? Like, you do know that we have like hundreds of regression tests, right? Or are you just being an idiot? Sorry, people are aggravating me in chat. I should not let... That's the thing about the internet, is people just show up and don't know anything about a situation and then start making antagonistic comments. It's not a very good way for a system to work. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like, all right, I shouldn't bother replying to people like that, honestly. All right. So, certainly I shouldn't bother getting angry about it, but I certainly shouldn't bother even replying. I just showed up 5 minutes ago and I know way better than you how to make this compiler you've been making for 4 years. Never mind that I've never made anything like that. I know better than you how to do it. I am a sophomore in the computer science program at some random university, and my professor said to do things a certain way. And I showed up 5 minutes ago, and I didn't see you do things that way because you're working on something. So I'm going to say that you're doing everything wrong, and I know better than you because I'm a sophomore in computer science. All right. Okay. So like what he was saying doesn't even make any sense. Like, this is catching the bug because I'm working on the bug. So like, what is he even talking about? What is he even talking about? It doesn't make any sense. Okay. Well, what have I been doing here? So I changed some behavior. Oh, this is my... I changed some behavior by not waking as many people up. But that seems to have triggered something else. The variable might be the solution to my woes. It's true, but I have not mastered the variable. So... yeah. So I don't even know who this is right now, this thing that's... So we're unqueuing something. We're unqueuing a placeholder. What? Okay, let me just step back. It's possible this is unrelated. It's possible this might have even been happening yesterday after I did that last placeholder fix. by type. Wait, where's the... So we're unqueuing. Yeah, this seems like a completely separate thing. I just want to make sure it's what I'm thinking it is. Oh, decal old L0. After like 4 years of typing line number, entities line 675. Yeah, okay. So this is stuff, you know, at some point the meta program comes along and builds a bunch of things that fill in these values. And so when that comes along, so until that comes along, this thing is a declaration that just says, well, this name is bound to something that's not here yet. So there's an old declaration. And then later we come along and we put a new declaration in. When we do that, we say, okay, old declaration, you can go away now. Which is also an unqueue step, but it's not like the rollback style unqueue like we were just doing. So here we're saying, okay, we have an old declaration. It was in the queue. I don't know why it was in the queue when it's a placeholder. Like placeholders can't go anywhere, but I guess it's so that people can wait on them. I'm going to write down why are placeholders queued, because maybe we can simplify that. Simpler if no unqueue. Have I mastered the constant? I don't even know. Yeah, so it's true. So what Montes is saying is true. If you use an undeclared identifier, right, that identifier might show up later when you add more stuff. Because there's just completely unordered compilation, right? If the compiler gets to the point where it's loaded everything and not all those identifiers are bound, then you know that some things aren't declared, right? But that takes a while. Like if you were to synchronize the program until everything's loaded, like you actually can't. In a language like this, you might think, well, to synchronize the program until everything's loaded, but part of the problem is you have operations that do namespace insertion. So if you say like using and then the name of some struct, you can't figure out what names that pulls into that namespace until you know what struct type that is. And how do you know what struct type that is? It could be arbitrarily complicated semantic resolution there, right? So yeah, it's not simple. We go through a lot of work so that you don't have to have header files, really, is what's happening. My completely unordered everything is a little crazy. It's not that crazy. I mean, I do need to work on the implementation to make it less complicated, and I'm not sure how to yet, but it's very good. What do you do for, do you have ordering happening? Like what is your situation? I'm asking Ginger Bill, who's in the chat. Okay, so placeholders, anyway, hooked into what I was just saying about ordering, a placeholder is a way of saying, like, look, here is this thing. If you're looking for this identifier, this is what it is. It's just not produced yet by the meta program. And that can help you, it can help reduce your error messages. Because if you make a mistake in another function where you misspell an identifier, you can get an undeclared identifier error for that, and it won't be drowned out by undeclared identifiers for these, because we know these aren't supposed to be declared yet. That's the purpose of all that. Anyway, so now we're trying to unqueue this guy, which, well, probably makes sense, right? So decal new is probably the right thing. Decal new is by type. This all looks correct so far. So we're trying to unqueue this guy. It's a very trivial function. For the eventual debugger, do you have any ideas for better breakpoints? I'm kind of happy with breakpoints. What I wanted a debugger is lots of other things. I think breakpoints are fine, except that you'll be able to drag the breakpoint around like you used to be able to in Visual Studio. But we're not going to do a debugger for a long time. Based on what I just said, depending on compilation order, could the same program resolve a symbol to different declarations across execution? In principle, no. Unless there's a bug in the compiler. Well, you could produce a program that would do that, but it would not be natural. You would do it by actually generating different identifiers every run, in which case, obviously, a variable can bind to different things. But if you're talking about a straightforward program, no, because a scope that's waiting for a using or something like that to import symbols knows it's waiting and it won't let people resolve past it. So, yeah. You collect all the entities first and calculate on the fly when is needed. For things such as struct and procedure signatures, you do things in order mainly for sanity reasons. So maybe the system is not that far off of mine. I mean, for me, struct bodies are unordered. They have to be the contents of a struct because they can refer to each other arbitrarily. Procedure signatures are ordered for me. Did you see my whisper about trying 24-bit color in Windows Console? Yeah, the problem is I wasn't using Windows Console. I was using something else. I could try it again in Windows Console, but if it's not going to work across, I don't know, maybe if it only doesn't work in that program, it's fine. Like if it's commander/conmu's problem, then maybe that program just sucks and I should use something different. I don't know. It's a possible solution. No, I haven't thought about non-nullable pointers. Nobody who ever asks me about non-nullable pointers says anything new about why they would be good, except, A, they just prevent you from dereferencing null, which we all know. The problem to be solved is how to introduce them in such a way that it doesn't make constant headaches for systems programmers, right? Because most languages that have non-nullable pointers are also trying to be memory safe mostly. And if you assume that I'm not going to be memory safe and that I'm like casting arbitrary memory to structs, and I don't want to take performance penalties, and I don't want to have a giant syntactic pain in the ass all the time, it's not clear how to do non-nullable pointers in a reasonable way. Now, I haven't thought about it enough, but nobody who ever suggests them has thought about it either, which is why I start to get frustrated after people ask me that like the 100th time. And I'm just like, it's not that, I don't know. I mean, yeah. Yeah, it's fine. Your signatures are not ordered because you can declare $T. Oh yeah, the resolution of polymorph variables is unordered. That is true. That is true. Yeah, it's true. So Ginger Bill is saying null pointers are so easy to catch compared to other invalid addresses. That is true. And that's one reason why I'm not that worried about it. However, it is also true that they do cost productivity. Like null pointer errors do cost productivity simply because it's so easy to make one and it can be buried, in some conditional that you don't exercise very often, right? So, it's good to try and protect against them if you can. Firstly, though, I don't know if the cost of introducing a non-nullable pointer thing outweighs the benefit. It might not. Secondly, I don't know if the classic ways of doing that are better than some other ways of doing it. Like maybe now that we have good metaprogramming, we can just do metaprogram analysis to, in reality, catch most of the problems that you would have. I mean, I don't exactly know. I haven't thought enough about that. No, I think Ginger Bill means internal to procedure signatures, right? I think he means, argument 1 gets evaluated or type checked before argument 2 and so forth. I don't think he means ordered with respect to the rest of the program, but he could answer that. What is a pipe in the context of the compiler? I have a whole talk about that on YouTube. I don't remember what the link is. I need to make a frequently asked questions list of videos on the page. You know what? I'm going to write this down. So frequently asked questions. People ask me about subversion all the time. What are pipes in the compiler? I don't know. That's just going to be my first 2 items on the list. At compile time, can't you add null checks and call some function in debug mode? You certainly can. The issue is just, what good does a null check do you if the only place the compiler knows to put it is right before the pointer dereference anyway? That doesn't help you because the pointer dereference itself is a null check, right? So, you need some level of extra information to know where to put those. Am I still confident of maintaining the aggressive compile time goals as the compiler matures? Given the discovery of bugs, it may have potentially expensive solutions. Yeah, I mean, in general, if a bug has a performance impact, it's usually small and there's usually a way around it. We're still very fast, and we haven't even gotten serious about making the compiler fast. So I'm not worried about that. Frequently asked rants list. Yeah, I want to do a frequently asked rants list. Yeah, but the Insobot answer about subversion is not very thorough, whereas I have like a 10-minute rant about it. Okay, so we're unqueuing this sleeper, and we're asserting that it doesn't have a next sleeper. That's weird. I mean, if it's sleeping on... Wait, what? This assertion doesn't make any sense. Did I just get unlucky about this and this never tripped? I don't think this assertion is correct. If I'm sleeping on someone, what happened here? I just never had enough sleepers. Maybe because I was waking people up all the time to trigger this. This is just not correct. So if I'm sleeping on someone, then clearly and I haven't done anything to remove myself from that linked list. Yeah. Ugh. Ugh. People are sleeping on me. There's all kinds of sleeping happening here. Let's even look at what we're talking about before I try to start fixing this. Line 675 of entities. Didn't we just go there? Okay. So for people sleeping on me, that's fine. Why am I sleeping on something? I'm not, okay, I want to know the state of this before we modify anything. Yeah, the thing that worries me is not so, I mean, definitely with the non-nullable pointer thing, there's friction when you want to use the pointer. But there's also, for people who do systems programming, friction when you want to set the pointer. Like, anytime you want to initialize a struct, you have to somehow set the pointer, and it's probably null before you set it. Right? So then you need some kind of special, I'm initializing this struct situation. And that's also annoying. So I don't know. I mean, one day I should just put together, like one day after all this other stuff is worked out, I can sit down and just start thinking about what that would look like concretely. Okay. So we were not in pipe infer, except we are. We're not in the input. We're probably not in the output. We are probably in the sleepers, right? So we're sleeping. No, we're not sleeping on someone. We're sleeping on an atom. Okay, we were sleeping on an atom. We've removed ourselves from the sleepers list. We have not removed ourselves from this atoms linked list of sleepers. And that's just never happening. That's a bug fix with a performance implication. Hopefully not too bad, because we shouldn't be waking up that many things, but this is one of those things where you look at your code and you're just like, how did this ever work? How did this ever work? Okay, so like if we're sleeping on an atom, then You know, it's got a list of people sleeping on me, right? And you look at that list, and there's this thing called next sleeper. So, um, you know, so by type, the person we're looking at is sleeping on this atom uh, by type. It's a placeholder, so I guess that makes sense. Although, that's kind of weird. Why is it sleeping on its own atom? That's a little weird. Maybe this could become a big, deep situation of me cleaning up things after things. By type, sleeping on its own atom. Okay. This is so weird. Like, I must have either deleted the code that takes you out of the linked list or just never written it in the first place. Okay, so the next sleeper on this down here is another declaration. Let's see who that is. Probably one of the procedures using this, right? There's going to be a lot of things using this. By type lowercase, that's a variable that's, well, line 67 of entity manager. So, for example, this thing, right? This is entity manager is a big struct that does a bunch of things. It has a member called by type, which is of uppercase by type, right? So it's waiting for this declaration to fill in so that it knows what this is, right? But then we have more next sleepers, right? Probably. Oh, maybe not. Next, just those are the only two. Okay. So I see like two different things wrong here. I see two things wrong. I don't know why the placeholder is sleeping on its own atom. Do I do that on purpose? It strikes me as potentially unnecessary. But regardless of that, this has to get fixed. This has to get fixed. Okay. We have to remove this guy from the list. Like, we only ever assign this when sleeping. That's obviously broken. Like, we have to maintain this list. Oh boy, what a pain. Okay, so here, so weird. How did this ever work? Okay. fact, we're gonna be real paranoid about this. So we're going to remove from sleeper list right? God, Emacs, stop it. Okay. And let's put the interp in there just in case. Void. How did this ever work? Assert. There must be at least one. Okay. So while we are not done, if we are doing the target, then target next sleeper is null. Well, return, we finished, right? Otherwise, well, cursor equals the address of right? Is that right? Seems right. So, you know, it's a little trickier than your normal linked list search because we keep the pointers so we can modify the pointer to take things out. I'm really tired today. I'm just not even in the mood to think about whether things are correct. Okay, so while the contents is not null, if it's the thing we're looking for, then we skip around the target. That seems right. And then we find the next sleeper pointer of the current thing. We take the address, and that's right. It seems right. You know, who knows? Who knows? We might be here for 4 hours debugging something stupid mistake that I did. No interp. Oh, we don't. You know what? Oh. This. I don't know what that's going to do. Zipping up your project directory periodically is the best version control. I disagree with that. I don't think it's so good. So the good thing about running version control is it's also offsite backup, right? It's the same, it's both in one. Yeah, it's quite possible. I'm sure it was a facetious comment, really. When did I last merge a binary asset in any source control? It's very rare, it's true. Oh, blueprints are binary? That's a pain. Sleeper list head. Okay, I obviously passed in the wrong pointer. Okay, sleeping on Adam. That's what happens when you paste. That is what happens when you paste. Yeah, in our engine, we have text versions of everything that goes in source control, right? And then if we want a binary version for shipping, which we often do, then it's just an alternate way of saving the same data. Yeah, blueprints being binary only would be terrible. Okay, so if it's sleeping on Adam, did this work? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, we got a different problem. What is this? What is going on in life? Like all this, we're reporting undeclared identifiers, which is good. Because we should, if this program works, get undeclared identifiers for value there, right? So found by type. This is actually declared, though. Now, this got swapped in. Did we not? This is that entities thing. So now it's like this guy is never waking up, even though am I preventing waking on this guy for some reason? I don't know. I don't have any idea what's going on here. So okay. So this guy's in the infer pipe, sleeping on the atom by type. So when by type got declared, we didn't successfully wake everybody now? What is going on? How did this ever work? Did I wake disable? Okay, here's what happened, folks. I defaulted wake disable to true instead of false. So nobody is ever waking anybody up. Frickin' dumb. Okay, that's fine because that other thing was still a bug. I was perplexed, like, how is this guy not waking properly? Oh. Yeah, no, like, I don't feel that way about my code too often, but once in a while, like about once every 6 months, I have this experience where I'm just like, how did this ever work? This is so wrong. This one isn't even actually that wrong, right? But sometimes you look at some code and you're just like, this is so wrong. I couldn't even imagine that it would appear to work, and yet somehow it does. This one wasn't that wrong. It's just like, okay, well, if you don't have too many people sleeping, maybe it's not that bad or something. But I've definitely had experiences where it was just like, yeah, bro, I have no idea how this even doesn't. Hey, okay, well, let's see what happens here. We exited without asserting. Undeclared identifier value. So I think we fixed the problem. Okay. I think I fixed the compiler bug, but don't necessarily want to check in the code while it has an undeclared identifier. We'll try to figure out how to introduce this parameter. Okay. So undeclared identifier value. So I'm just going to go value pointer $T. Actually, that's fine, I think. Let's build the release compiler while we're waiting on this. We can run tests. I hope I didn't break anything real bad. It's always possible, since I fixed that remove things from sleeping list thing, that there are other bugs that were just not being exposed. All right. Does that run? Okay, we compiled with debug compiler and it ran. Let's compile with release compiler LLVM style. Compile with release compiler x64 style, so it compiles even faster. 1.02 seconds. Okay. I will just point out that the other day when we were getting all caring about performance, we were about 1.04 seconds. So maybe our sleeping don't wake people up thing helped a little bit. But 1 now we're 1.04. Maybe we just got a random low fluctuation. Oh God, it keeps going up. No. No, okay, 1.05, 1.05. It's about the same. 107. Oh my God, it's terrible. It actually does. I think it's a little slower. Maybe the waking people up from the linked list is a little slower. I don't know. I suppose we don't actually have to do that. Okay. Before I check in, let's run tests. Okay. So we're good to check in. That's all fine. Yeah, we got slower. Oh, wait, 1.03. Maybe my computer is slower right now. Maybe I've got some random program. Like, that seems like a big amount of fluctuation. Let's kill calculator. You never know how much CPU calculator is taking to do all that calculation. Of course, we've got OBS running. I don't know how well it would go without OBS. MuTorrent, let's kill that. Adobe, let's kill that. Kill that. Man, Adobe wants to really get up in your grill. Look at all this Adobe things. I don't want to be running any of these. What? Oh, another calculator. No, stop. Adobe, stop before I uninstall you. Corsair Link, that thing takes CPU all the damn time, although not right now. Cortana, usually I turn that off, whatever. More Adobe. They tried to trick me by not saying Adobe Creative Cloud, but I know what it is. I know what it is. The Tobii eye tracker is taking all this CPU. It says 3%, but like that's really a quarter of an entire core or something, right? Steam client bootstrapper. Oh, let's kill that. Yeah. There's a lot of Tobies going on here. Discord. Why is Ultra Search taking CPU? I'm not even in the window. Okay. This probably wouldn't have mattered at all, but let's see. 103. 104. 104. 105. Now, see, it gets tired. The CPU gets a little tired if I run a lot in a row. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember getting 106s and 107s for the past couple days, so I think it's a little slower. But these are the types, this is what happens. You fix things, it gets slower, then you speed it up, then you, whatever. Yeah, maybe it's all the linker. Like, I don't know. Let's look at front end time. 5.5, 5.4, 5.39, that's 5.4, 5.3, 5.4, 5.3. Like, that strikes me as being what the front end time always was. I feel like the link time is varying. So that might be something that's out of my control. Oh, we're using LLD also. So like, let's get rid of this one because we're not actively, okay. (102), 103, 101. Okay, so it's probably just that we were using LLD. And the other day when I switched that, I said it's about the same. But actually link.exe is faster. which surprises me. Okay. Very sad. At one time in the recent past, LLD seemed a lot faster for us, but it is not today. I don't know if they did something. I don't know if we did something. I don't know if we compiled it wrong and we're running like a non-optimal build. Okay, whatever. Whatever. We're down in the reasonable numbers. So I don't think we slowed it down really at all. Okay, so I have two comments to make. In pipes, my comment is speed. In principle, probably we don't need to remove things from the sleeper list. We just leave unqueued items in there, and when we go to wake things, we notice if they are unqueued and just ignore them. Now that I think of it, this is how things were working before I added this. It's just the assert bang queue next sleeper below this block was wrong, and we never tripped it. I don't know. And for speed purposes, maybe we want to take these removes out again. We also save the LOC from deleting by deleting remove from sleeper lists, and make things more simple as long as we document them well so that I know clearly what is supposed to be going on 8 months from now when I am tired and streaming in the morning and look at something and go, huh? Okay, so that's one of the comments. The other comment, what was the other? I don't remember now what we've been doing. Okay, so we were looking at Ignacio's bug that he filed. Oh, that was about the rollback unqueue. That is the other thing. Okay. it called wake disable? Yeah. Parameters to scope addition to and thing. Okay, let's make sure our comments have not broken anything. When I say atom here, it has nothing to do with an atomic operation. It's ancient Lisp terminology. Okay. Fix Ignacio's link bug. It's not his bug. It's the link bug he reported. Keep fix value use in UI. All right. Okay, well that was, oh my God, people are filing more bugs. Stop it. Stop it. I guess I have to at least look at these bugs. Let me get some more tea and we'll at least look at these bugs. I don't know if we'll fix them. Like I said, I'm not at peak mental performance today. I'm tired after streaming a lot for like a week. It's been a huge week of streaming a ton, and streaming makes me tired. But let's at least look at these. Maybe they'll be easy to knock off. How has it been for the collaborators to learn this stuff? I think they like using it and are interested and are having a good time. I mean, there's always the thing, like, you know, this bug that I just fixed was, you know, Ignacio was writing some code and ran into a problem that you wouldn't have on a mature platform, right? So there's still that. There's like people hit bugs. But I don't think, like, it's not like half the stuff you do causes a bug. It's like once in a while people hit something and it's like, oh, okay, we gotta fix this. So I hope the bug level is not frustrating for people. But I'm not sure. You know, I should talk to people about it at some point. I've kind of been off in my own corner. I'm having a really good time with it. But yeah, I don't know. How many bugs left on the list? Well, yesterday it was 0. Today it is 5. So we're gonna attack a few of these. Okay, So I'm going to get some tea. I'll be back in a second. Any on-topic technical questions? Go ahead and address them to me while I get some tea. What did I decide? How does it output code nodes? How does it output? You mean for bug reports? We didn't really change. We didn't really change. You know, we just edited colors and took off the carets and stuff, but the way we say file name and line number is still the same. You meant position in file. Yeah, no, the people suggesting byte offset, I don't understand why they're suggesting that, so I'm not going to do it. Are you the only person who considers this to be high level? No, I consider it to be a high level language also. It's just not high level in the same way as some other languages are, right? So it doesn't, you know, when people think high level language, you know, their brain thinks of certain properties that many of the existing high level languages have in common. And this one doesn't have those. I would say this isn't probably as high level as something like, I don't know, I was almost going to say Haskell, but I mean, there's a weird thing where, like, just because you're stringing together lots of lambdas doesn't actually mean that you have a very high level of expressive power, actually. Because it's hard to think about those. I don't know. I don't know. It is what it is. Can you embed assembly directly? Not yet, but it's in the roadmap plan scheme. How many years will it take the compiler to become very mature without having to report bugs? Will all existing compilers always have bug reports being filed on them? So I don't know I don't know that zero bug input rate will ever occur. That's just not how it works. Hopefully the bugs become less and less severe over time and more rare. Do we have anyone who works with the Mac version? Yeah. Abner and Josh work on the Mac version as well. I do not. I've never run the Mac version of the compiler. Okay, let's... So I think bug 177 we already fixed. So we're at 178. So what happens? I don't know. What are we even looking at here? It looks like declarations do not need a semicolon terminator. Okay, right. Yeah, that's bad. This is something happened to the parser for a while. This might be different. I'm not going to work on this one yet. I just want to get a survey of what all the bugs are. So 178 is semicolons. Don't you think that one language could probably be enough to write almost all programs, given that there are the right libraries for it? Yeah, totally. It's just people have different ideas of how they want to program. And so, you know, you're not going to force everybody to use the same language. When I said I didn't think we could output an ELF file on Linux directly, I explained that at that time. I don't know what more I could say about it. But we have binary compatibility with C++, sort of. Depends what you mean by that. Shouldn't high level just mean you're ignoring implementation details, but rather focus on concepts of higher abstraction? I don't know. I think it should mean that you have the ability to do that, right? Ignoring implementation details all the time, though, in my experience, is a recipe for disaster, actually. And that's something that a lot of the programming language community still hasn't actually figured out. And that's why when Mike Acton goes to CPPCon, a lot of people think he's an idiot or a weirdo or something, right? Because they have a worldview that conflicts. Yeah, these are supposed to be optional, but like these are not supposed to be optional. And there's supposed to be a thing in the parser that checks for them, and maybe it doesn't. That said, that by itself may not fix some of these. Like this may still happen, for all I know. So we'll see. Okay, 178 is semicolons. Let's look at 179. Circular dependency with no info. Yeah. Let's see 180. Basically, if there's a crash, I want to do that first, because crashes are bad. Unhandled literal in emit code for literal, the default argument in the template parameter step. That's weird. Okay. Maybe I do that one first. Because problems in polymorphism, well, I don't know. Yeah. All right, 181. When an argument is optionally baked, is constant always returns false. That is not a bug. Oh, wait. That is a bug. That is a bug. All right. That's a pretty interesting one. Is constant always returns false. Interesting. I kind of want to do that one second. I want to do the unhandled literal first. I want to do that one second. And then 182. You believe this condition should be constant, but you get this error instead. Yeah. Type info int. The result of type info is not constant. I need to think about that one. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to say that's a feature request. So I'm gonna say won't fix for now. Bug 182. I am not sure what it will take to make the results of type info considered constant by the compiler. It may be a substantial undertaking, so I'd like to move it from bug to feature request. Is the actual code you were trying to write yeah, so bug 182, yeah. Well, checked in change code. Okay. So I feel like bug 182 that's a feature request. And then there's no bug 183. So that we really have 4 bugs to deal with today. Unless someone's filed more. Nope. Okay. 4 bugs to deal with. Let's look at one of them. Unhandled literal, bug 180. Default argument in the template parameter step is causing this error. Internal error, unhandled literal in emit code for literal. Which default argument? Maybe it's this one. Maybe it's this one. There's a lot of default arguments there. Let's pare it down and figure out which one. I mean, I guess we could also... Yeah. Oh, well... Somehow, a polymorph variable made its way into a type, such that the bytecode builder is trying to size it. No good. That is no good. But this is supposed to work. So I could delete the rest of this, right? Like, this should all still happen. Yeah. Well, what do we think? I think we break in this error. This could be gnarly. I'm going to be honest. I might not be in the mood to fix this today. I might be in the mood to go to a coffee shop and read. Then again, it might be easy. Okay, so we're going to break here. Okay. Dan says it says parameter step. I don't know what you're referring to. Okay. Where are we? Oh God, we're in the polymorph solver. That's never fun. It is never fun to be in the polymorph solver. Why does step use equals, whereas format and the ones after use colon equals? That's fine. That's the way this language works. Okay, where are we? We're given an expression. Expr. It's a literal. Why are we assuming it's a procedure? What are we even doing here? Whoops. Right, inst wanted is T. Okay, this is not a correct assertion. This is wrong. So what we're saying here is if it's a lambda, we copy it so that we can do stuff to it. In this case, it's correct. Literal with type inst t will be tagged as polymorphic, so we don't want to copy here. Oh, wait. We do, because, okay, this is actually the problem. Fuck! I don't want you to recompile. This is why I hate IDEs. They like, oh my God. It's like, I didn't want you to torpedo my debugging session. I wanted you to just jump to the next line. But no, Microsoft Research has all these ideas about how to increase my productivity. Thank you, Microsoft Research, for increasing my productivity right there. That was great. Okay. So I think because we're not copying, so expr has an inferred type, right? Yeah. So we have to copy and reinfer here our literal. But how do I do that? Well, okay. I think we just do it here. So let's try. If lambda, else if expr arrow type is equal to s literal, this is weird. No, you know what? This is not the right place to do this. This is not the right place to do this. So the problem is that no. The problem is type given is that, which it shouldn't be. Here we go. So here, when we say sort call arguments and maybe polymorph, right, we make this sorted arguments result, right? So here, and the problem is the problem is the following. In the header of this procedure, this one gets a type of being a polymorphic unknown type because this thing is polymorphic. But when we make a procedure, call and we fill this in, we say like, oh, this has a default value. Let's copy over the value and its type. So we're passing a thing that we claim is polymorphic into there, when really it shouldn't be. Now, okay, so one thing we can do is when we call the procedure, we can check to see if it's a literal that has a polymorphic stamp on it and re-infer it there. Or up here where we declare this, maybe this shouldn't be stamped as polymorphic in the first place. I'm not sure if that will break something or not. My inclination is to try that because it's a little weird. I don't know. I'm not sure which one is right. Both of these, it's a little bit arbitrary. Anyway, let's try that. Call, no. Well, proc type. Lambda argument declarations, data, comma 4, right? This is argument 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, whoops. Wait, what? I did the wrong thing. I dragged the wrong thing. Okay, so this one. And it's got an expression slot, and that expression's inferred type is 9A8, which is interp type def poly use 9A8. So I want to find where this is getting set. And figure that out. Okay. When inferring T, isn't the one always closest, so T is always in? No. No, T could be any number type. It could be a floating point. It's 32 or 64-bit number. Come on, man. You don't infer T from the one. You infer T from the arguments that are passed. All right, so we're going to check the inferred type. When does this get set? Breakpoints. Let's delete some old breakpoints. Let's delete all these ones that we don't care about. Four, 5C, 8AFO. Okay, this is the normal one. And then this is going to get stomped on later. Here we go. So value is type def poly use. So the question is, does it make sense to insert some discretion here. Okay, this is just general declaration situation. All right, let's try it. If value is equal to interp type def poly use, this is just here so that we don't spoil the inferred type of the inferred type of default values of polymorphic procedure parameters, because when we insert those parameters into the sorted arguments of a call that didn't provide its own value, if we stamp it as polymorphic, then we have to query infer at that time. Maybe that is better anyway. I don't know, man. (2018), not 2108. I hope this language is done by 2108. If it's not done by 2108, I might not finish it. All right, let's just say that. Let's just say that. Hey, let's see if we broke anything. Let's compile Sokoban with the debug compiler. (2108) is the closed beta. Could be. Could be. It's very easy in a complicated system like this to break things by fixing a bug. Yeah. Don't be fooled about that. All right. Well, it didn't assert. That's good. Let's release build. We'll build it with the new release build. Run our regression tests that other guy says don't exist. Or maybe they just ran too fast for him to know what was happening. Okay, that's good. So, I still don't feel completely sure that there's not going to be another problem related to that in some way, but I don't know what the problem is. And if I do it the other thing where I copy and reinfer when you polymorph, that has a little bit of a performance implication. So I'd rather not do it that way if it doesn't cause a problem. Oh, let me then try bug 180, because I had done this. So let's try that. Okay, still good. fix bug 180. So we've got 3 bugs left on the bug list. We fixed 2 during this stream. I'm now very hungry. So we fixed the one without a number that Ignacio had checked in. That took a while. And we fixed this one. Next on the list are semicolons, circular dependency, and is constant not working. I think I want to fix the is constant not working next, but not right now. I might just go to a cafe and work for a while because I've been streaming so much. Will I be doing any Q&A? We did Q&A already. We could do a couple of serious questions right now if people want to do it. Did I check it in? Yes. Cafe, why not a pub? Because I don't drink beer. And also, I'm not sure that drinking alcohol helps with programming. It doesn't seem like the best tactic to me. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Have I ever used non-temporal hardware intrinsics? I have not used that many intrinsics, honestly, generally speaking. I use them once in a while when I'm doing specific things, and it's been a long time. So I have nothing to say about that. Oh, wait, it's supposed to support 24-bit? That's weird. Someone closed the bug, even though it still doesn't work. Why was it closed? The dude closed the bug. It doesn't say why. Maybe it says duplicate. Maybe it says won't fix. How many problems can you have over such a simple thing? So this is what happens when you build your software on top of something else that you don't really understand how it works. God, reading this bug report, yeah, I'm not going to use... It's obvious, just reading that bug report, it's obvious what bad software that is. Like when you don't have control over something like that, when you don't understand how to solve something like that, just forget it, dude. You're over. Your software is over. Well, the second link is a conemu issue, not a commander issue. Yeah, I was reading the... Is there an actual checkbox that you have to turn on to enable 24-bit color? I don't even... I'm not even going to entertain... It's checked. TrueMod 24-bit color support. It just doesn't work. Yeah, LLVM does seem to get slower all the time. It's not good. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming by. I'm going to go out in the world today and not just sit here in my apartment. What's the weather like? 67, not so bad. Would I consider making a stream about good practices about functional programming? Not really, because I have spent very little of my time doing functional programming because I decided early on that I don't really like it. So I'm not the right person to tell you how to functional program well, because almost all of my experience is in imperative languages. That said, I think most of the functional language people giving you advice, it's bad advice. But I think that's just an example of almost always when people are giving you advice, it's bad advice. So I'm not sure that that has anything to do with functional languages or not functional languages. Do you find yourself relying more on past experience to guide the future of your program design, or is there some conscious effort put into ensuring you don't slowly creep into a quagmire? Both of those are true. Any chance for stack walking support? You mean in the language itself or during debugging? It already works during debugging. You can use Visual Studio actually to debug. If you mean in the language, I thought a while ago that that would be a thing that would be cool, but then we haven't ever needed it, so I don't know. Let's see who to host today. We've been having some good hosting times.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Last night's hosting was Weird Stream Lemmings, which was all right. Programming. Honest Dams, web dev, no, not web dev. Rankings in leagues for Botland. French, 40, a survival adventure. Development stream day 273. What is that? Is that, wait, where'd it go? I can't tell if that's JavaScript or not. That looks like Visual Studio, which means it's probably not JavaScript. Is this C#? What's going on? Yeah. Well, if this is day 273, this doesn't look that far along. I mean, maybe it's a test level that isn't that good, but I don't know. By the time you're 9 months into your project, you should have more than trees on a plane. In my opinion, you should have snakes on a plane. Rhythm game programming. Anyone have ideas about what I should be hosting here? Yeah, no, he could be just learning. It's true. It's just, you know, do I want to host someone who's an early learner, or do I want to host someone who's like getting stuff done? Programming language in C#.
Yeah. What will I do if I do this? I didn't do nothing.
I'm not sure that I like the looks of this, but
Really screw something up. If I did this, for instance, unexpected token.
Sneak peek of VS Code may release. That's a test level. Now I'm totally lost. There's so many things here. Let's take a look at game development. There's more people on there anyway. Rainbow Road. Survival adventure. I don't know. Does anyone see anything here good? What's the IBM Code Live thing? I didn't see that. IBM, that must have been in the other folder. Making a game in Unity. Where and how to sell your game. That doesn't seem very good. What is this one? At this point, I'll settle for just any stream where things are happening.
That is fucking crazy. These ones are older than me.
This is just a guy playing games. Maybe not. Maybe he's running a test. Is he running a test? What's
I
happening?
need to get a 3-year badge, or not a 3-year, a 2-year badge put together. Because I only have the 1-year badge. Oh, you know what I could do? I wonder if I could do a Just Shapes and Beats thingy. I want a Just Shapes and Beats emote. I want
Undead Archer update. That's a Twitch plays something. Tower defense. Dude, I don't know. I don't know. I can't find anything that catches my eye here that I want to host. It's just very... This is the state of things. Like, what's this guy doing? He's reading documentation. I don't know. Go for C99 game engine. C99. Where is that? C99 game engine sprite rendering. Okay. This guy has a camera. He's explaining what he's doing. That is better than any of these other ones. So we're going to host this guy even though his mic is not good.
I'm not sure.
See y'all later.